The EU Open qualifiers are beginning today, probably right as this video goes live. The first rounds will be taking place on Friday at 12 noon Eastern time. Obviously, if you're European, that's a way different time. Just convert it on Google. I'm not sure how to do all that. Anyway, let's talk about the seeds today. Let's talk about how the bracket could look like by the end and see which teams could possibly make it. There's probably going to be a lot more chaos out of Europe just because Europe always has that depth. They have so many great players that there's bound to be some upsets and bound to be some heartbreak for some of these top teams. How top? Probably not at the very peak. Probably not top 8-ish, but after that, I could see some upsets coming out. So in North America, we had maybe one team miss out that was supposed to be there in Omelette. In Europe, I expect that number to go up a little bit. It just depends on which teams are great and which teams aren't. And it's been a long offseason, so we'll see how Europe is shaping up. But let's get right into it. The seeds right now for Europe, and we can talk about this. Now, the seeding was done based on weighted points. From spring points were weighted the most. Winter points were made a little bit less. Then fall points were weighted very little. But that doesn't include the World Championship, and that's why you'll see these seeds be a little bit odd. We talked about this in a previous video. I wish they would have counted the World Championship at least as like maybe the equivalent to spring major points, and I think that would have changed things around a little bit, at least at the very top. Not a huge deal between 1 and 2 seed, but, you know, it does look a little weird when the world champs who had a perfect spring are the 2 seed. So Vitality, they're coming out as the 2 seed. Now, this is not listed necessarily in the right order of players or which 3 are actually going to play. So keep that in mind as we go down this list. But we're not going to hang on here for too long, but you guys can take a look. I will link this in the description below. This was done on Reddit by John, a.k.a. always the MVP of the Reddit, I would say. But we got to talk about K-Corp, obviously. On paper, that team looks insane. Rise, Addo, and Vatira. I think when I made a video about dream European teams, that was the team I came up with as like, this is the team that can take down Vitality. And so we'll see how that all plays out throughout this season. But at the top, you expect them to all make it through. We got the Gentlemates, BDS, you know, the Oxygens and all that. But as you go down the list, it gets a little bit odd. Luna Galaxy gets all their points from a Chronic. Winners POV gets all their points from an APAC player in OSM. So that was another thing we talked about a bit in previous videos of when they determined how to seed. I wish they would have maybe done like if you came from a lower tiered region in terms of prizing, then maybe those points don't convert over to a higher tier region because inherently those will be more competitive. But they do for now. And who knows, maybe in 2025 things will change, but I don't know. Man, it's weird to say 2025 as in like it's next year. Anyway, so maybe the 9 and 10 seed are a little bit high for some of these teams, but as you go down, one team I want to look at, obviously T-Time, Scrub Killer, my boy, Gibbs, my other boy, and Gom over there, or Gome. I want to see how they fare, but if you're seeded 9 or 10, obviously, or you're going to play seed 9 or 10, those are the teams to look out for that might have a little bit of an easier run, especially that seed 10. So if seed 10 would play, if I'm doing my math right, they would play team 7? So Moist Esports and the uppers, but they'll probably be dropped before that. So in the round of 32, they would play seed 23. So if you look down at 23, Speed's back, baby. Speed's back. There it is. I didn't even plan that. Just looking at it, there we go. Speed's going to make a run. He's going to make a run. He's going to make it in. But tons of names that you have seen before that have had opportunities in the past in the RLCS are all sprinkled throughout this list. So again, expect some upsets. Expect some of these lower seeded teams to make a run. On top of that, I wanted to talk about what the brackets look like. So we just got to move this around a little bit here. We'll just move this like that. That should be good enough. Basically, the way it works, double elimination brackets. There's 926 teams in Europe. Tons of teams. For day one, it won't be that exciting, but if you want to watch people just destroy other teams, then feel free. Day one, we have K-Corp coming out. They'll have to play 2 matches. Most of the top teams will only have to play 2 best of 3s there. And then if you go back here real quick, see if I can do this relatively quickly. You go into day 2, is best of 3s again as well, so keep that in mind. Day 2, I believe the top teams also only have to play 2 matches. Yep, there you go. 2 matches for them. And then finally, we go into the final day. And if you're in the upper bracket, it begins at best of 5. I think the lower bracket begins at best of 3 for the first round. And then it moves into best of 5. So day 3, there you go. These will all be best of 5 matchups. Here are the matchups that you could expect to see if seeding goes properly. And then the lower bracket, that first round will be best of 3. And then we'll move on from there. Sorry about the notification if you heard that. But we will do best of 5s here. I just want to like sprinkle through this lower bracket if you want to see it. I will link this below, but basically these lower bracket matches are going to be huge. So the link for the brackets will be there. Make sure you just turn on show projected if you want to see what it will look like if the top seed wins every single time. So on top of this, we got K Corp, Tea Time. Oh, my boys, it's going to be rough. But if they win, it could be fun. Magnifico versus Luna. BDS versus Grid Serve. Oxygen versus Caliente. Vitality versus Top Cougars. Moist Sports versus Winners POV. We talked about that one earlier. Gentle Baits versus Endpoint Redemption versus Team 3. So we'll see how it all plays out. There's tons of players that honestly, I don't even know where everyone is right now on the European side. I've been focusing on North America. I can't even tell you where every one of these players wound up. But at the top of Europe, it is still insane. I expect them to dominate majors yet again, outside of maybe a possible like Falcons or a possible G2 or Gen G. Outside of those names, maybe Furia, maybe. Outside of that, I expect it to be Europe for the other probably 4 spots, like in that top 8. If I did that math. Yeah, that'd be 8 teams. So probably the other 4 spots probably will be European teams, but we'll have to see. But Europe is always so incredibly strong, but it's going to be wild. I'm telling you, day 3, like if you want to watch this, this will begin at noon Eastern time. And I believe the NA show starts, the pre-show will start at 12:30 Eastern time. So maybe take a crack at a couple of these European matches, like if you can find the team streams, because I bet there'll be upsets. Hopefully we'll have a chance to update you guys on which teams advanced by the end of that North American show. But there's going to be a ton of great Rocket League to watch throughout this weekend. We have NA, like in their Swiss, in their brackets, and then we have the European Open Qualifier, which will definitely be entertainment. So, lots to watch. I hope to see you there on the NA show, but if not, go ahead and watch Europe. That's fine too. We love Europe. Watch any of the regions. I honestly don't care, but, you know, hopefully you look at my face a couple times. You know, just tune in once in a while. I'll be on the desk all weekend long. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the RLCS show. Oh, it's great to say it.